Hello everyone, hope you guys are having a great day and welcome back to the channel. So often when I find a character I really like, I'll only really focus on certain things about them. They might have a cool gimmick or a cool weapon or a strange silhouette that I really like. Now, right now I'm able to make fan art, I like these concepts and I'm able to, take the character as they are. But when I was younger, I struggled a lot making fan art of those characters. So to cope, I would steal the elements I liked and leave the rest. Easy as pie. One of the things that I did a lot was with Honkai Star Rail when it first came out. I was a day one player, and whenever a new character would come out, I would kind of switch up elements and take stuff I like for my own original characters. So I didn't have to deal with the stuff I didn't like the excessive fan service or uninteresting personalities. Anyway, with the upcoming Artfight, I thought we could look back on some of those copycat characters and see if we can make them a bit more original. Starting with the oldest character we'll be covering today, we have Danwich Tenyen, or we'll just be calling Danwich for the rest of the video. So Danwich is a kind of hard of character to explain. Initially, they had no connection to any of the overseas, and I didn't really give them any lore at all. Danwich was initially a drawing of Silver Wolf that I wanted to render, and as I drew it, I was like, I don't like this hair, I don't like the outfit, and I changed up parts of her design until I made up a whole new character. Once I had finished rendering, I was so proud of it that I just put it in Artfight and was like, oh, I don't really care, and gave them a completely random name and description and called it a day, hoping someone else would, see how amazing I did and draw them. So Danwich has actually been on my profile for almost 3 years. They've never gotten an attack. While I was collecting material for the other characters in this video, I remembered Danwich and thought, hey, if I'm already doing some of my other Honkai Star Rail related characters, why not give this single piece wonder, not OC, no lore character a rough sheet? So I did that, and of course with Silver Wolf finally getting a super form, that helped as well with motivation. Looking at the design, I wanted to preface this by saying I barely changed Danwich's original design. It's technically a redesign, but I'm really sensitive about them, okay? They're like, a kind of glimpse into what my art used to look like, how it used to feel. Anyway, they have on a school uniform with a purple coat on top. My favorite parts of them are the sci-fi bits, of course. I love their Nintendo Switch horns, the ribbons coming from their gaming gloves, and the knife on their lower leg, which is an obvious remnant of the original Silver Wolf design. Overall, I can never really hate the design, even though it's really not that good. If you know me, you know I hate placing characters outside a story or universe, so I've placed Danwich into the same world as the other characters in this video. They're not a main character or anything, but I can imagine them having an arc that will have our other characters go to Danwich's home planet, and they work with them to save the day. And here they are finally! If anyone's wondering, I did make them a Silver Wolf level 99 Est Danwich, which I did put up along on their Artfight profile. I've always really liked Sparkle's aesthetic. She's an actor at heart, even when she gets lost in the mask, and while some of her Japanese inspiration was really cool, I instead wanted to capture her unique energy in her next character, Matsuri. Originally an OC named Outlet for an Honkai Star Rail roleplay server, Matsuri has always been a very indulgent kind of character for me. He was skinny, an actor, and had the headphone things that I used all the time on my older characters. Had the old sci-fi hoodie and shorts combo. Once you've seen enough of my stuff, you'll know that I used that everywhere back in the day. He was overpowered and could beat anyone or anything, and his only character flaw was being, crazy, but, boring crazy. Like, low end. Low end from Get Your Nip Back on a Crazy. I don't know. He was very, Tumblr sexy man, I think. I think when I made him, I already knew his design was outdated and unoriginal. It looked like characters I already had, and it lacked any defining features, and it really wasn't as memorable or as cool as I thought it was when I first made him. So when it came to redesigning Outlet, I focused on only the elements I liked from the original. I liked the firework inspiration, I liked the masks, so I ran with both of those as the only major elements. I started with a jumpsuit, because his original backstory paints his family as running some sort of sci-fi card shop, so I wanted to give him that kind of aesthetic. And so it also gave him a unique silhouette that I hadn't had for any of my other characters before. I added patterns to it to make it less boring. And then, I'm moving on, I also needed to make sure to have lots and lots of his masks, since I had wrote his lore to include them more. So I replaced his headphones from his original design with a pair of masks that could float around his head, and then giving him long ribbons on either side of him that you can have several masks attached to show even more of them. In universe, Matsuri is an outlaw for stealing 12 extremely valuable masks from a different planet, and while on the run, he finds our next character. He's extremely tricky and can use his mask to change his appearance, but while fighting, he can bring out the heroes who previously wore each mask of his servants, but only 2 at a time. I think overall, I really love this new version of Matsuri. It went a lot, and it changed him so much, and it's like, oh, he's came so far. I guess that's it. You only want to socialize, but I don't think we should. The other major reason I make these copycat type characters is to cope with not getting them in whatever game they're from. In Honkai Star Rail, the inspiration for this next character and my favorite character from the whole game at the time were running at the same time, and I had to pick. I couldn't get both, even though I wanted to, and I didn't have the money to force it to get Acheron of all things, so I stole everything I liked about her for this next character, Hoilioh. Acheron's design has always interested me. I loved her huge sword, and her 2 forms, and her riding gear and Penacony was so extremely good I had to just steal it all from her. I actually don't remember why exactly I made Hoilioh, or when, or for what exactly. While Matsuri was oriented for a roleplay server, and Danwich was on the spot to replace Silverwolf, Hoilioh has both a character seat, a fully finished piece, and a whole lot of writing that I don't remember making. It's really strange, but I'm really proud that I was able to do so much with this one character with so little. Redesigning him was actually relatively straightforward. Having more than one ref for how I imagined him allowed me to better understand what vibe I was going for, so I, knew how to do it. I didn't change very much. I just gave him a more muscular build, changed the material of his shirt, and modernized his ribbons and jacket. His evil form, which I've renamed Ko, got a lot more changes. I wanted to make him look more like a demon, such as a crazy version of Hoilioh. I based him on an Oni, with giving him gray skin and white hair, along with wrapping the ribbons seen in both of their designs across his body, to give him some visual spice. I then changed the look of the sword to match both of them, and that was that. Hoilioh is the remnant of a long-forgotten planet, one destroyed by a monster from the planet's core. The last of the people of this planet were able to sail the demon within the sword, and Hoilioh was picked from birth to be its keeper. The sword constantly produces energy that Hoilioh must release via taking the sword from his sheath and releasing Ko, a version of himself with the demon's powers. This takes a toll on his mind, forcing him to become a recluse in the mountains to avoid hurting others. Our final character isn't a redesign at all. In the spirit of the video, I took the newest Honkai Star Rail character as a recording, Yao Guang, and put it through the same process as everybody else. I'll keep it brief. While Yao Guang does have a lot of cool elements, my favorite ones are of course her divining abilities. I did my research and found she divines using something called the Baoguo, doing a hexagram. I found this concept to be extremely cool, so I used that for our final character, Tainming. He is less of a design and more of a cool idea for a power shoved into a character. For his powers, I think that he can make a hexagram based on the actions of his opponents and his own actions, and then put that into a talisman, and then the effect of the hexagram would happen in the fight. I gave him a traditional Chinese warrior outfit with some monk aspects along with that to a scale behind him for divining. In universe, Tainming was the warrior put onto Matsuri's case. He hunts them from planet to planet, looking to finally catch him and rise the ranks of his planet's military. And that's everyone. By the time this goes up, you'll all be able to see any of these characters on Artfight. If you want to see them or anyone else, look into the description below for links to all of that. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye!